toxic family member have been attacking my other sister, Debbie, for decades, non-stop. I started thinking about this. Last year, I go to Debbie's house. She's telling me how she upset because she tired of hearing people telling stories about her. The story they was telling at that time was Debbie, all she do is sit in the house and smoke and drink all day. Now, at this time, last year, Debbie was 69 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but this woman had worked all her life, raised her children, and at 69 years old, if that's what she want to do, she can do it. Who the hell are you to talk about what she doing? But the problem is, that ain't all she do. It's just another negative story about Debbie. Now, after this, I go home and now all of the thoughts that I done heard and stories about Debbie is coming to me. The stories about Debbie started when I was a little child. I could hear my toxic sister on the phone telling people about her own sister, telling other family members in person about her own sister, over and over again. Now, the story she was talking was about petty stuff. How Debbie dressed going to work, what Debbie's house looked like, what Debbie do, how Debbie, all she do is party, work all week and party all weekend. It's kid stuff, but I'm a kid, so I'm sucking up these stories. Now, she didn't just stop at Debbie, she talked about Debbie's husband as well, Gregory. Now, the problem with Gregory is that back then, the man was a singer in a group called The Compliments. And I'm a little kid, to have my brother-in-law as a singer, you know, that was really something to me. So when I'm hearing this woman speaking negative about her, you know, I'm feeling some kind of way, even though I'm just a kid. Now, when their album come out, back then, you know, it wasn't no CDs. They had the album and you could buy the 45. On the 45, it had one song on each side. I go to the record shop, get my brother-in-law album, and I'm at home listening, jamming to his song, because it was nice. And even the one on the flip side, it was one on there, it was called The Funky Chicken. Even that one wasn't too bad, you know, but this my brother-in-law. I'm looking up to him. I'm jamming to his song. My little friends come around, I'm telling them, yeah, that's my brother-in-law. But every time my sister, my toxic sister, speak about him, oh, he ain't nothing. They don't do nothing but do drugs. They drug addicts. They just get high with the money that they make it. Now, after all of this, I've been here. One day, my brother June comes, get me and my mother from the house. We going to Debbie's house. Debbie and her husband is into it. We get there, they, you know, doing what they did, calming the situation down. Come to find out, the reason they was into it is because my toxic sister slid up on Gregory when Debbie wasn't around, and she told him that their two children Little Greg and Tish is not his. Now you think about that. You're a married man and your wife's sister pull up on you telling you them ain't your children. You think she would stop? No. See, Debbie recognized this early on, that her sister was constantly talking about it. Non-stop. So what Debbie did, she tried to be the bigger person and just stay away. Okay? That means if you stand away from your sister, you're staying away from your family. So Debbie started hanging with her friends and their family. That became her family. She doing this to be the bigger person and keep the drama down. You would think that a younger sister would recognize this and leave her alone. No. Because now Debbie got friends and her friends is friends with our family. Now, anytime the toxic family member, the toxic sister would see Debbie friends and get the opportunity to talk to them, she's sliding up on them like a snake. Yeah, you know my sister ain't nothing. She low down, she this, she that. Running her down to her friends. One day, she pull up on Debbie's friend, Lillian. Now, Lillian and Debbie been friends long as I can remember. I grew up with Lillian's children. They was at our house, we was at theirs. Birthday parties, holidays. But Trisha slide up on Lillian at Lillian's house one day. Running down Debbie. Debbie ain't nothing. She all low down and she this and that. Lillian say, hey, don't bring that over here. I don't care what you say about Debbie, but Debbie is my sister. You can take that crap out of here. And from that day forward, Trisha ain't never said nothing to Lillian about Debbie. You would think she would stop. No, because Lillian's children grew up. And every time Trisha was around them, got the opportunity to talk to them, she signed up on them. Yeah, Debbie ain't nothing. Ain't never been nothing. She don't do nothing but party. She ain't nothing. Now, here it is. These children, from the time they could speak, they was calling Debbie auntie. And here you come, sliding up on them, telling them negative stories about your own sister. Come on. When do it end? See, it don't stop there. Because the stories continued on. You know, no matter what happened, what Debbie done, it was always negative stories about her coming from her sister. Trisha's first house, 7 Mile in Irvington. Now, back during that time, early 80s, they had a program going on in Michigan for dollar houses. You had to go downtown, put your name in, and if your name is drawn, you get a house for $1. And you get a grant to fix it up, contractors come in, do all the work, you ain't gotta do nothing. But how did Trisha get the house? her sister Debbie that she talks about so bad. Debbie put her name in and made that happen. But it didn't matter because she's still talking about her like a dog. Now, a few years after she got the house, okay, Debbie was moving to a new place. They had to leave where they was living and go to this new place, but the new place wasn't ready yet. So they needed someplace to stay a few days. They stayed at Trisha's house. Now, years later, the story that Trisha telling is that Gregory was stealing her liquor. She goes on to say every day she would leave and he would be drinking up her liquor. She said one day she come home early and this man got a whole little mini bar out on the porch with him. Now, let me ask you something. How in the hell somebody on welfare got a damn mini bar full of liquor? Where the money come from? It never ends. Now, years later, Gregory gets sick. He got a heart problem. Now, the story Trisha telling once she found out, oh, that's from doing all them drugs all them years. Yeah, that's why it's sick. She ain't stopped there. Because as time went on, his condition got worse. They had a hospital bed at their home. He started losing weight. He could almost barely walk. The story coming from Trisha. He looked like an AIDS patient. Can't nobody tell me he ain't got AIDS. I'm telling you. When he was out singing, had all them women coming at him, he messed around with all of them and messed around and got AIDS. Now here it is. I'm young. Don't know nothing about AIDS. All I know about AIDS is I'm scared of it, and I'm scared of anybody that I hear that got it. I had been going to their house off and on for years, seeing them, seeing my nephew and nieces, you know, and Greg would always come talk with me. But now he's real sick. I go by there one day, and before I can even go see him in the bedroom, he done got out of bed, coming to see me. Because I grew up looking up to him, and now, because of what I'm doing, he kind of looking up to me. So he done got out of bed, and came all to the front door, you know, shake my hand like we always do. But guess what the problem now is? Because of this story that I done heard about him, I'm scared to shake his hand, even though I do it anyway. But it's the thought in my head from a story. But she didn't stop there, man. The stories about Debbie, they continue. But she ain't just talking about Debbie, man. It's all Debbie's children and grandchildren. See, after all of this she done to Debbie and Greg, all of a sudden see her pulling up on their daughter. What is this about? You hated them all these years and now you and their daughter cool? What kind of game is this? It didn't take long to see it. 2017, 2018, I started seeing Tish coming around, hanging with her auntie. Like everybody else, auntie, giving her food, you know? She give everybody food, same thing. One day, we standing outside her house, and she said she waiting on Tish to pull up. She said she taking a long time. Then come the story. Yeah, I hope she ain't got pulled over. You know she riding around, ain't got no tags and no insurance on the car. Why I need to know this? I don't know nothing about what Tish doing, how she live. I don't know none of that. All I know, Tish is alive and well, got a job, she all right. That's enough for me. Why I gotta hear this? Now, it went from that to she called me one day making this big issue about how long it's taking Tish to move in the house. Now, I'm just wondering why this is an issue for you. How long it's taking her to move in? Because they still working on the house, they ain't finished. It ain't got nothing to do with her. Why is you making this an issue? And I told her, I said, hey, how long it's taking them to finish the house ain't got nothing to do with Tish. But she didn't stop, because a while after Tish moved in, she called me on the phone telling me how Tish's landlord then got shot. And she telling me about our family knows his family and all the details. I don't know nobody, but I'm listening. Now, after this, she calling me months later on a regular basis. Every time Tish's name come up, she saying Tish being short on her rent. All I'm wondering is how the hell you know that? Tish coming to you, telling you she's short on the rent? One time she called. She said, yeah. All of a sudden, no, here's her words. Her words. It's awful funny that all of a sudden this man gets shot, and all of a sudden now Tish short on her rent every month. I don't know nothing about it. It's her talking. Every time Tish's name coming up, it's about her rent situation. Now, the next time, she telling me how Tish work all these hours, get paid, and go out and buy designer sunglasses or some designer shoes, and then she short on the rent. Another time, she telling me about how Tish have all these parties and even inviting the landlord's family to parties, and then she short on her rent. She ain't stopped there. Tish going on vacation, you know, like everybody else was at the time. Once again, it's another story. Tish going on vacations, the landlord family looking on her social media page and seeing her all out on these vacations. They come to get the money and she's short. It don't make no sense. Now this is my thoughts on all this. This woman is talking to this child on a regular basis. Why is you coming to me with all these stories about it? Didn't end there. Because it ain't stop at Tish. She talking about Tish's children too. Now, Tish's children go to college. One of them is selling dinners. She calling my phone telling me how she done gave him all this stuff for his dinners, and he's sending her pictures, and she even sending them to me. Now, here's my thing. You giving this child stuff, okay? You auntie, you know, you looking out. But how would he feel if he knew you sitting around talking about his mama like that? How would he feel if he knew you sitting around talking about his grandmother and grandfather all these years? You see what I'm saying? But it didn't stop there, man. When they came back from college, one of them got a job before the other one did. And she's sitting around talking about, yeah, he over there ain't got no job, laying around his grandmother's house, ain't doing nothing, don't make no sense how these men can be so lazy. Now here it is, you pay attention. This 3 generations. You got my sister Debbie, who is grandma, Tish, who is mama, and the children. She talking about all of them. You think about that. But she didn't stop at them. She talking about Debbie's other child, Deshaun, who is the oldest. Now, the way this come about is sometime earlier this year or last year, she calls me, telling me about her and Deshaun went to a repast of somebody we know passed away. Now, she tell me how she called Deshaun and asked him, was he going? And he tell him he didn't have gas money. This is her words talking, it ain't me. All I'm thinking is why I need to know this. Always something negative about somebody. He ain't got gas money. Now, that sparked me looking at all the things I done heard about Deshaun going back 20 years. Oh, Deshaun don't do nothing but smoke and drink. He don't do nothing but party, just like his mama did. He ain't nothing. They walking around and every time you look around, they got people at their house every day smoking weed. It ain't nothing but the weed house. They sitting around smoking all day. Everybody coming to smoke. I can't understand how people come over there every day and that house all nasty. She didn't stop there, man. She talked about Sean's wife, Sharonda. Talked about how Sharonda, she got a master's degree. She got this good paying job. But she went on to say, yeah, it don't make no sense. She got a college degree and a good job and they living like that. That don't make no sense. Over and over again. Story after story after story about this man, your own nephew. She didn't stop there. When their son passed away, the things that came out this woman's mouth, you would not believe. But I can't even tell you about it because I don't know how my nephew and his wife mind is right now. I don't want them seeing this video and having to deal with this. But you're going to read about it. You might even hear about it at a later date. But you pay attention to just the things that's been said. Generations of family being talked about, badmouth, backstab, lied on. For nothing.